Welcome to the Joyride podcast. I am so excited that you are here with me today. My name is Rebecca Joy. I'm a life coach, a motivational speaker, and your host. This is a space where we get real, we get raw, and we certainly are getting very honest with ourselves. Here we're talking about real growth. I'm talking the kind that changes how you see yourself, how you trust yourself, and how you decide to move throughout your life. We are exploring confidence, embodiment, intuition, identity, wellness, and the inner work behind real life transformation. You do not need to have it all figured out to be here because trust me, I certainly don't. There is no pressure to perform or become something or someone else. This podcast is meant to feel like home. It's a place where you can come back to and settle in and feel seen and celebrated and really reconnect with what matters most to you. So if you are ready to live with more alignment, certainty, and self-trust, you're exactly in the right place. So let's begin. Hello, my angels. We made it. We are in Miami. I cannot believe that I am making my first podcast episode in Miami. It feels so freaking weird and surreal. And I'm sitting in my little living room space at my dining table, looking out at the palm trees and the sun. And I'm just in disbelief that I am here. So welcome to today's episode. I have so much to share with you. Girl, don't even get me started on what these last few weeks have been like. But we're going to get into everything today. We're going to get into what was happening before the move, the actual move, how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, what's coming up for me, how it affects you, astrological transits, all of that good stuff that we always get into in every single episode. So welcome freaking back to the Joyride podcast. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. I have such a good episode in store for you because I just have so much content to share with you. And I'm super grateful that you are here with me. So without further ado, let's get fucking into it. Okay, so it is Monday, June 8th that I'm recording this. I have officially been in Miami for 1 week. And I'm still in shock. And I'm still processing. And you know what? I'm actually kind of grieving the process of working towards getting to the destination. Can you relate to that? When you work so hard towards something and you're visualizing and you're dreaming and you're putting in the action steps and you're doing all the things and it feels close, but then it also feels so far away. It's almost like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I get so attached to the journey because we're always going through some type of journey to get to another destination in life. And it's hard sometimes when you get to the end because, life really is about the journey. It's not about the destination. And we experience so many emotions when we are navigating through that journey. Sometimes it can feel a little disorienting when you get to the destination. Once you do get there, you're like, oh my God, I'm actually here and I've made it and I'm doing it. But can I keep this? Can I hold on to this? What do I do now? What journey am I embarking on now? So I am feeling so many different emotions, but I want to catch you up on the pre-move. So before I moved to Miami, there was so much going on. I was in such a state of overwhelm, of confusion, of figuring out where I was going to live, how I was going to do this. This has been a very different move for me. When I moved to Austin, Texas, I had a job lined up. I was staying at a family's home. My best friend moved with me. Things didn't feel as uncertain as they have been in this Miami move. I am transitioning the way that I am working, and that's still in flux, and I'm still figuring out how that's going to look for myself. And my moving situation was very much so up in the air for the past few months. I explored a lot of different options when it came to my housing. Do I want to live with a friend? Do I want to live by myself? Where do I want to live? How much do I want to spend? All of the things, right? And I kept on telling myself since the beginning of the year, I really wanted to approach my life differently this year. And instead of just focusing on this big, big vision, I really wanted to break it down into steps. And I'm really proud of myself in how I have been navigating getting to this point in my life, because the main central goal of my 2026 was moving to Miami. I very much so believe that depending on the year that we are moving through, what's happening for us in our lives, we aren't doing everything at once. That's just not how life works. Some years you're focused on your romantic relationship. Some years you're focused on getting pregnant, buying a house, building a career, moving through deep emotional trauma and shit. Like, just every year looks so different. And so this year, my main goal was getting myself to Miami. And of course, I had other goals beyond that. But I will say it was feeling very disorienting, not waking up every day in a space where I'm like, yes, this is my home and this is what I do, and being able to go after those goals on a routinely basis. And I just really had to accept that for the remainder of my time in North Carolina, I'm just going to feel that way. And it's not that I was putting my life on hold, but I just knew how much my life would open up for me being here. And so I had to fully understand, this time in my life is going to feel very different. It's going to feel weird for me. I am a Virgo, as you all know. I love my routine. I love working towards things. I'm a go-getter. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creative. Like, I just love paving my own fucking path, and I love doing things. And this year has really felt like a sacred pause. I mean, ever since I moved out of Austin, I spent almost 10 months in North Carolina, and it was very, very hard for me to let go in a lot of ways, but I had to. And it took some time. Slowly but surely, I learned how to let go more and more with each phase that I went through in North Carolina. But there was I like to call it like my sacred pause in life, because it really felt like I wasn't living my life. And to an outsider, a lot of people would say, like, enjoy this time. You don't have a lot of responsibilities. You can hang out with your family and just be low key and spend time with them and have your homey vibe. And, I'm so glad that I had that chapter of life, but deep down, it was never fulfilling for me. And I want to start off with saying that because I am always honest and I'm always raw and always transparent on this podcast. And I was sitting with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt for a very long time in my life, because I have always known that I live my life very selfishly, in the sense that I live it for me, as I believe everyone should. I don't live it for my parents. I don't live it for my friends. I know what makes me feel good. And I'm surrounded by a lot of people in my life, not all of them, but a lot of my friends are very close to their families. They live very close to them. They live more of a quote unquote regular conventional life. And when you see these people looking as happy as they are, and you're still figuring out your way and, building things, and I have been building my own business and trying things and throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks for a very long time. I mean, that was most of my 20s. You have these moments where you look at these people and you're like, is it wrong of me that I just feel like I don't want that? And so I very much so was looking forward to spending a lot of time with my family in North Carolina and having slower moments where I am playing mahjong with my parents and cooking with them and spending time at my grandmother's house, which is so beautiful, and taking all these gorgeous walks. But my soul felt dead. I felt dead inside for like 10 months. I did not feel connected to the land. I did not feel connected to the people. Like I said, just didn't feel like I was living my life to the fullest. And one of the most important messages and themes that I learned living in North Carolina is that two truths can exist at once. Any single time that someone asked me if I enjoyed living in North Carolina, I would be honest with them and I would be like, not really. And you know what I would say? I would say, this place is beautiful and it's been nice to spend time with my family, but this place is not fucking for me. It is not for me. My sights are set on Miami. I cannot wait to be there. I just know that my soul feels alive there. And the life that I always intend on living is a life where I feel fulfilled from a soulful place. And I'm so grateful that I went through that experience, even though it was so challenging. It was such a struggle for me because every day I'm like, what can I freaking do to feel connected to myself? And I'm so happy to say that I tried everything. And I think that's one of the most important things to remember. If you are living somewhere where you truly feel disconnected, and maybe you don't even know if that registers for you. I do, because I grew up in the Bay Area. I went to school in Arizona, I came back home, and I had very similar feelings as to what I was feeling in North Carolina. I felt like I am more than this. I felt like I am more than what this land and this place can give to me. Like I'm almost like busting out of the seams, and it like can't, I'm too much for it. And so moving to Austin, as you know, I really felt supported and seen and taken care of. And of course, that journey was filled with its ups and downs, and it was rocky, and I struggled a lot, but I still loved who I was there. And I loved my experiences and who I became there and what I learned about myself. And, you know, I will always say that I needed Austin as much as it needed me. And this episode is not about Austin, but that was the first time in my life where I truly felt like, holy shit, like my soul is alive now. And so once you have one of those experiences and then you go back to living at home, which you may be listening to this and you may be living at home with your parents, or you may be going through a season of life where you have to, or you're living somewhere where you don't feel as good because you're trying to save money or this or that, whatever it is, trust in what you are moving through. I know that it's hard, but trust that it is temporary. Trust that you are learning lessons that you need to learn in order to get yourself to where you want to go next. I have been working towards Miami for so many years. I can't tell you how many times Miami was all that I could think about living in Austin. And I knew that I had to be in Austin. Like, you are where you are for a reason. You are experiencing what you are experiencing for a reason. And that's why I love sharing about my personal experiences and why I feel so damn connected to not just myself, but to you as a listener when I do, because I know that people need to hear this fucking real ass shit. Like, it was so hard for me to live in North Carolina, but I was unapologetic in saying this place is not for me. And I am doing whatever I possibly can in my power to enjoy where I'm at. But I also know that this is not it. I don't believe in settling in life. I don't believe in living a life where I don't feel good where I am. And it really fires me up that so many people are living somewhere. Like, I'm not even talking about like the relationship and the job. I'm talking about like the city in which you're living in. That is the first damn step in living a beautiful, rich, fulfilling life. You have to feel good in the city that you're living in. So, you know, towards the end of my North Carolina experience, I truly felt like this was a full circle moment. Nothing about my journey, my plan to get there was perfect. Truly nothing. This is coming from someone who has always strived to have the perfect plan. and so much of my life has not been perfect, but internally I have wanted it to be perfect. And with this experience in my life, I had to fully trust in myself, in God, and in the universe that I know that I'm supposed to be there. And I was given many tests and many challenges, and so many things did not work out. And I felt like, why aren't things happening? Like, I know that I'm supposed to be there. And it got to the point where I truly had to just make a decision and say, I'm going. Okay, God, I'm going. And me making that decision, things started to speed up. So many of us are waiting for some type of external outcome in order for us to have that permission to do something. I need to have a certain amount of money saved in the bank. I need to be out of this relationship. I need to spend X amount of months at this job. You know what I have to say to that? Fuck that. Because life favors the bold, and life favors people who take risks. And for me, it very much so felt like the combination of me making that decision to say, enough is enough. I have given everything that I can to this North Carolina experience. And I want to pause and say that I spent many months, especially at the beginning of this year, questioning when I was going to leave. I knew that I was going to be out of there by summer because I had the foresight to know that I was not going to spend a summer there. I would sit and say to myself, what in the fuck am I going to do over the summer? Go to the movies, play mahjong with my parents some more, like go to the pool in my parents' neighborhood? Like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, I just could not envision a life there. I could not envision myself spending my 31st birthday there. And so I just knew that it was going to get to a season that I was out of there, but I didn't know how. And I still was throwing shit at the wall and, asking everyone I knew in Miami about work, about places to stay, and just doing everything that I could in my power to make this happen. Okay? That is very, very, very important. You have to continuously put in the work. Okay? For so many years, I was sitting in this energy of the dreaming and the visualizing and praying to God that one day I would just wake up and my situation would be fixed. And as shitty as it feels to almost like look back at those times in my life and be like, damn bitch, you could have done so much more. I'm so happy that I had those experiences because I'm now so rooted in the balance of we always have to be intentional with our dreams, with our goals, with our visions, but you have to match that with action. And that does not mean in any sense that you have to hustle and force, because listen, I don't want to hustle. I don't want to force, but I know that I can put in aligned action, and you have to show up and you have to be seen. And we are especially moving into a period over the next year, Jupiter's moving into Leo, where, listen, you want shit to happen for you in your life, you got to be out there and you got to be seen. I will talk a little bit more about that later. But coming back to this idea that I was sitting in for a while of, okay, God, have I learned all of my lessons? Have I gotten what I needed to get from being here? I am someone that analyzes pretty much everything in my life, and I'm always coming back to this idea that whatever stage of life we are in, there's always wisdom to be gained. There are always lessons that we need to learn. And so I'm not going to lie to you, for many months I was like, fuck, I want to be out of here. Like, my physical body was in North Carolina, but my soul has been in Miami for a very long time. Like, I would be in the gym at the beginning of the year and just disassociate. Because it would feel like, okay, I'm like here doing hip thrusts, but like I'm walking the boardwalk on Miami Beach. Like, that's where I am. So I had to sit with myself and realize, when it's time to go, I'm going to know. And you will know. If you don't have answers for what you're seeking in your life, trust that you're not supposed to know yet. I really had to lean into this knowing because like I mentioned, I was really approaching this year as a step-by-step process. Okay, step one was taking that road trip to Florida and really clarifying that I'm supposed to be here. Okay, then the next step was figuring out, where I'm going to live and then job stuff. And I had to take it step by step. It's too overwhelming, especially if you are doing this alone. I cannot stress this enough. It's so fun to, pin pins on your Pinterest board and do the vision board and journal and all that. And it's also necessary, a part of this process. But really break it down into a step-by-step process. Like I mentioned, for so long, it felt so weird and wrong to not work towards these goals that I'm so excited now to have the time and space to sit with myself and, ask myself, what is it that I want to attract now in my life? And because I was living somewhere where there wasn't much for me to do necessarily, I could spend a lot of time in doing that, but I also knew that it would be so different and it would feel so different being here. And even though I know the main pillars of my life and how deeply my values have shifted over the past year, I'm so excited to have the space now to sit with myself and ask myself those questions and to be able to start new journeys towards that new destination. But again, not putting the emphasis on the destination, putting the emphasis on like the journey to get there. So understanding that God was going to make this work for me because I just knew that I was supposed to be here. So wrapping up North Carolina felt really good. I felt ready. Again, the past few weeks before that, I had spent a lot of time with my family. It was my little brother's wedding that I spoke about in an earlier podcast. I had my older brother and my 5-year-old niece in town. And then I had a few weeks to figure this out. And I just want to emphasize that you may want to revert to this perfect plan. I do this, I do this, I do this, and then I go. And then I do this, and then I create this. You have to trust in life's unfolding and that it's going to look very, very different from your plan. It would have made me feel more settled and more secure in this had I had this perfect plan play out, but that is not what happened for me. And I'm still here and I still got here. And now that I'm here, there is so much unknown, but because I feel so good here, I feel so supported foundationally, I know that it's going to work out. I know that I'm going to wake up every day despite how I'm feeling, whether I'm, stressed or like, oh my God, like I'm here now and I have to do it and I have to like create that life and build that life. There's also this sense of knowing and security and safety and understanding that I am exactly where I need to be. And because this is something that I've worked towards and longed for such a long time, I can make it happen. Your dreams are so specific to you, and they're going to manifest because they're supposed to be a part of your life. So we leave North Carolina. I make the drive down to Miami. I don't want to get into every single detail because there are so many details that I could share, but I will say that because my values have shifted so significantly in my life over the past year and a half, I'm seeing that play out in real time. For instance, the last few years living in Austin, I was so focused on building my life coach business, doing human design. I wasn't dating. I was very much so wrapped up in so much money anxiety, which again, I've talked about in several episodes. But moving to Miami felt like a fresh start. It felt like a new beginning because I'm able to bring forth all of the lessons and the wisdom that I have gained over, my course of 6.5 years living in Austin and then spending, almost 10 months doing a lot of generational trauma healing and unpacking these deep-rooted stories and narratives that I've been carrying around from my parents and, just all of the stuff, which I'm so glad that I was exposed to all that. Like, living with your parents in your 30s is not for the weak. And I know that it will never happen for me again in my life, but I'm so glad that I was exposed to so many stories that were just living in my subconscious for so long. And I always knew that there was no way for me to go straight from Austin to Miami. And it was very much so clarified by multiple psychics that I met with. And just, I'm so happy that I had that chapter in my life. But what I was most looking forward to in moving here was being somewhere where I felt alive, having the sun, having the water, having the ocean, being surrounded by so many Jewish people. This is something that I never cared about in my 20s, like could give zero fucks. But again, my values started to really change over the past year and a half, and now I'm so freaking grateful to be living somewhere where there's so much Jewish pride, and there's such a massive community here, and I already feel so connected because of that. So I have that, doing things very differently with how I spend my time and energy. When you're living, for me at least, living somewhere that I did not feel good in, I had to rely so much on my practices and on my routines. And I'm so grateful that I started to really see my routines as rituals in Austin. But I will say I definitely was a slave to them. And I definitely didn't need to be. And so now being here, I fully recognize that I have these routines. And as a spiritual girly, I love journaling. I love meditating. I love Reiki. I love a sound bath. I love all those things, right? But in Austin, I was so consumed by it because there was so much of it. And I was in that phase of my life where I wanted to be consumed with it. And it's almost, I had this like toxic relationship with healing. I always felt like there was just so much more healing to do. And I now recognize that I had a very toxic relationship with healing. I am a Virgo, and I'm always searching and wanting to fix what is not pure. But in being here and in working towards being here, I started to shift what I value. And I put more emphasis on, I want to open myself up to my life partner and experience a beautiful, rich, fulfilling life with my partner. And now that I'm here, my purpose in life feels so much bigger than me. And for so many years, it felt like, Rebecca, this life coach, and I want to be the speaker, and I want to be well known for helping people and all these things. And now that is on the side, and that feels so truthful for me. And what I'm focusing on now is really opening myself up and taking those steps to attract my life partner, to become someone's partner in life, to build life with someone, to become someone's wife, to become a mother, and to let all of the passionate things that I do be a part of who I am, but not overtake me. And I'm just so happy to be here, to have landed here, because for so long I just was so consumed with that energy. And I now see how misaligned that was for me. And I fully believe that as women especially, we need a secure foundation in order for us to really thrive and really be our highest selves. And for so long, I was trying to do that without a secure foundation. And I now understand why it never worked out for me, which is a part of my journey. And there are plenty of women out there who are fucking doing it, and they're crushing it, and they're killing it all on their own. And I fully recognize that I have no intention on doing that. So I got to Miami, and let's just get into the past week and what came up for me. So I get to Miami, and I move into this place, and it is not what I expected. It is dirty. It is not clean. There are so many things missing from this place. Light fixtures, things in the kitchen. I'm a Cancer rising, okay? I need to feel safe within my home in order to operate at the level that I want to operate in. My nervous system went into a full-on shutdown. The first 3 days were hell. They were so bad. I could not even focus on the fact that I got myself here, that I actually did the fucking thing. Because that's what happens when your nervous system just goes into fight or flight. You can't even focus on the positives, on the good things, because you're so consumed with the overwhelm, with the shock, with the like, what the fuck am I experiencing? And that was me the first few days. And I'm so happy that I made it through. The first night I slept 2 hours. I barely ate like the first 2 days. I was searching on Airbnb for new places. Of course, all these questions are running through my head. Do I just pack up my shit and leave? I could drive to my brother's. He's 3.5 hours away. I could drive to a friend's house who's 2 hours away. What do? I just like have to get myself out of this, and I have to go to what is comfortable and what is safe. Oof, that message right there. I was talking to my therapist this morning, God bless her, and she was speaking on the idea that we are so used to being convenienced. We all want to be convenienced. We don't like inconveniences. We don't like when things don't go our way. We don't like when we are struggling. This was a situation where I recognize that I'm supposed to be here. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be in Miami, but why the fuck are you doing this to me, God? Like, you know who I am. I am clean. I'm organized. I take care of my stuff. Like, my home is a sacred place to me. And it felt like I bit off more than I can chew. And I'm on the phone with my parents. I'm like, I cried so much within those first few days. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And it made me realize in those first few days how ready and how prepared I am for a partner, how ready I am for partnership. I truly feel like this is the first time in my adult life where I was in a situation where I felt like it was too much for me to bear emotionally. And I'm so happy that it happened for me, because I'm able to walk away with that wisdom, knowing that now. I was really preparing. I really felt like I was just being prepared all throughout my North Carolina journey. I was working as an older woman's personal assistant, doing a lot of things that I would never do for myself. And then I moved in with one of my best friends, and we were like a married couple. I was cooking and cleaning for her and taking care of her. And, I wanted to, but I also felt like I had to. And then once I went back to my parents for the last week to pack up all my things, I realized, it felt really good to take care of someone else. It felt like I had this new purpose and this new added extra layer of fulfillment instead of just like taking care of myself, which is what I did pretty much all throughout my Austin journey, which like rightfully so. Your 20s are for you to be selfish and focus on you and do what you want to do. So, starting off the journey this way, I will say that it hit that perfectionism wound that I had with me. I would have loved to share on social media like I'm here and look at this beautiful place and oh my God, I made it and now I'm going to build my life. And I was like, fuck, like it doesn't feel like that, because I'm walking into a situation that is not up to my standards. I'm walking into a situation that I was not expecting. And it scared the living shit out of me. And my nervous system just wanted to say no. No, 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 no. So in that moment, I recognized a few things. One, I have bared so much emotionally throughout my entire life. I'm ready to expose myself and really be vulnerable in that sense and understand that I don't have to walk through life alone anymore emotionally. I have gotten so much support in other ways, which I'm so incredibly grateful for. But I've always felt like everything that I've gone through in my life, I have done alone emotionally. Of course, I have incredible friends that are there for me, and I've worked with such incredible people, but majority-wise, I have taken it all on myself. You know how much power is in that knowing as a woman to be like, no, I don't want to operate like this anymore. I don't have to operate like this anymore. God, I would have given anything for someone to be there with me those first few days, a friend, a parent, a partner, just someone there to be like, it's gonna be okay. Let me help you through this. But I got through it, and it was really hard and it was really shitty the first few days because, again, I couldn't focus on all of the positives. I live in such a beautiful area, which I'm not even here for that long, but that was my point because I was very unsure on how I was going to move. Do I want to go month to month, 3 months, 6 months? How am I doing this? And I am trusting that God will show me the way, that the next steps will be revealed to me. I fully trust in that. I am not allowing myself to be consumed with anxiety and fear of, I just got to make this work and I have to figure out every single step of the way. It's too much. It's too overwhelming. It's too exhausting. And it fully takes you out of the present moment. And one of my gifts in human design is this psychic gift of seeing the future. And I know that I am in a state of fear and panic and restlessness when I'm future tripping and I'm trying to figure out those next steps. So being here the first few days, once I got through that chaotic energy and I got my place cleaned and I organized and I unloaded my things and I went to the grocery store and I started to create a sense of a home within this temporary home, it made me feel so much more grounded within myself. And I am so grateful that I experienced that, because it really made me realize, I was putting so much of my focus on just get me to Miami, just get me there and I will figure it out. We can very much so be swept up in that vision and kind of like disregard our standards and our needs because we want something so badly. It's like if you're settling for a job, you're not making as much, but you're like, oh, it's a job and I need a job. Or you're settling in a relationship, you're settling within your friendships. We can't be settling. And I fully believe that God is going to continue to give us lessons and test us and really show us, okay, tell me what you want. Tell me what you fucking want, okay? Raise your goddamn standards. I know being in this situation, God has given me so much of what I wanted, but I wasn't able to see through that because I was so focused on the things that I didn't get. And I now feel so much more balanced in acknowledging this place is not perfect. It is not my ideal, but it's temporary. And I want to choose to focus on all of the positives that I am gaining from being here. I am 5 minutes away from the beach. That is fucking nuts to me. I mean, who gets to live 5 minutes away from the beach? I walk outside and there are palm trees and the foliage is insane, and I live in such a beautiful neighborhood and it is so safe and I can walk to so many things, and if I can't walk, I hop in my car and I just go somewhere. There is so much that I am grateful for. But in that moment, it revealed to me so much that I needed to see within myself. And so if you're moving through something where you're like, why are you doing this to me, God? I don't deserve this. I want you to try to understand that there is a lesson in there, and it is probably showing you something in regards to your self-worth and your standards and how you can ask more of life, but also recognize that there's always something to be grateful for. There truly is always something to be grateful for. And I am still in a state of like shock and disbelief that I'm even here. I'm still processing it all because, like I said, this was not a perfect plan by any means. I was just focusing on, I have to get myself here. And so that is what I'm focusing on now, finding the balance in making myself feel safe within my current conditions. How can I allow myself to feel grounded, nourished, comforted, and safe? But how can I still live my life and put myself out there and not be so focused on everything has to be perfect in order for me to live my life and put myself out there? That was me for a very long time. Everything has to be perfect. The conditions need to be perfect. And if they aren't, sometimes I would just be like, fuck that. Now I'm fully integrating myself into the balance. I have my routines, I have my practices, but they don't consume me, okay? I get up in the morning, I do my few things, and then I say, let's go work out. Let's go for a nice long beach walk. Slowly, I will find my way, and I will curate and create new routines and new practices for myself. But this is also such an exciting time for me, and collectively, I feel like it's such an exciting time for so many people. There are so many people that I've heard about moving and just like starting new things, going on like crazy travels for the summer. This is a season of fresh new beginnings. And I was talking with one of my friends who lives in Florida. I stayed with her for one night on Sunday night, and she was saying, she feels like this year, because it's a 1 year, so many people are starting over, yet so many of us don't have the answers. Like, we're continuously moving through so many new beginnings. And as exciting as that is, it's also a little petrifying to be like, okay, I'm starting this new beginning, but like, what happens next? In Austin, I was living there for 6.5 years, and that was my life. I had my friends, I had my community, I knew what I was working towards. And there was so much that I knew. There was so much comfort in knowing what I'm going to wake up and do the next day. Now it's not like that. And I'm not letting myself let that get to me, because I'm someone who really thrives off of routine and order and knowing what comes next in my own way. I am reminding myself of the magic of putting myself in a new city, making new friends, putting myself out there, going to new places, being exposed to new energy and new people and the new feelings that come with that, and recognizing that I am allowed to have balance. I am allowed to go through a fucking stressful last week. I mean, I kid you not, it felt like I was going through Survivor. I don't watch Survivor, but I know the premise of the show. My first few days here, I was like, I'm in a fucking episode of Survivor. Like, what is going on here? I'm doing this on my own. This is so hard. Why is this so hard? It's Miami. It's supposed to be like magical and beautiful and abundant. And it is. What was holding me together during those first few days was the fact that ever since I took my first trip here in 2021, I have felt so magnetic and so abundant here. And I don't have to do anything. I just get to be me. And I feel that way. The people that I have met so far have been so warm and kind and open and giving. And that was really holding me together the first few days. The fact that I knew that because this place is so supportive of me, I am getting that type of energy back. Along with also sharing with the people in my life what I was experiencing, because I need to feel emotionally connected. And even though I did not have someone physically here with me, I really, really needed that. And I'm so grateful that I opened myself up and was vulnerable in that way, because I wouldn't have been able to get through the first days without that. I have been a fighter for so much of my life. And like I mentioned, I have taken the heat for everything emotionally. And I have almost like let myself sit in that pain and sit in that struggle on my own. And even within the first few days here, I'm recognizing that's not who I want to be anymore. And I wouldn't have known that had I not been given that experience. I will never forget meeting with an astrologist that I used to work with a few years ago. And he was like, Rebecca, there's only so much healing that you can do on your own. There really is. And to me, I put so much of an emphasis on like doing the internal work and like sitting with myself and figuring things out and this and that. We learn so much in life, yes, that way, but more so through living fucking life. And life is not perfect. And I'm so grateful that I feel so confident in myself to be able to share all of this with you, because most people do not have this gift and they would not feel comfortable doing that. But like I said, I love sharing my life experiences because I know that it's going to touch someone. I know that it's going to help someone. And I always want to be a role model for someone, and I want to live my most fulfilling life possible. And I also know that I don't want to continuously be on the like struggle healing bus. I have lived that life for so long, and that is why I moved to Miami, because I want to identify as someone different and do things differently. And I already feel so much more like mature and graceful in the way that I was handling this situation, and already putting myself out there. I went to an amazing community event on Thursday, and everyone that I met was so shocked that I was there because I just moved on Monday. And I'm like, listen, I'm practicing what I preach, okay? I can't sit here and wait for the conditions to be perfect. But I also want to acknowledge that I get to nourish myself, and I get to be that sense of comfort for myself, and I get to self-soothe. Literally this weekend, I cooked a lot. I watched a lot of Off Campus, which I'm obsessed with right now, and took it slower because I'm here for the long haul. I am here for the journey that Miami is going to take me on, and I cannot wait to take you on this journey with me. But there is no rush. Miami is fully connecting me to this softer feminine side of me. And it's not something like, I think, in the spiritual world, there's so much of like, you have to become it before, you have to think like it, you have to write like it, you have to visualize it. Yes, but only to an extent. Because you have to experience it, you have to live it. And yes, you can prepare yourself for it, but being here in this new environment, there's no way that I could feel these feelings of entering a new soft era, a new feminine era, a new vulnerable area of my life had I not come here. So you really have to take those risks in order to identify as someone different, to identify as someone new. And over the course of the past few months, I've learned so much about me and what I value and how things have shifted. I even was thinking before I left North Carolina, in the work that I do, for so many years, I was trying to prove to myself that I was a good coach, that I could do this. And I really, really love helping people. I really, really do. But I put so much emphasis on, I have to help people. I have to save them. I have to change their lives. And now I'm in more of a selfish era where I'm like, let me figure out my shit first. I'm so excited to continue to do what I love to do, but it is going to look and just be very different. The energy is going to be very different because I'm not putting all this stress and pressure on myself that I have to figure it out and I have to make it work. No, let me take care of myself first and understand that I've taken a lot of time to figure out who I am, what I want, what I'm good at, what I'm here to share. And that will continue to evolve. And I'm so excited to see how that evolves as I become someone's partner and a wife and a mother and get more career and work experience, in ways that I have been working towards, and maybe in different ways too. I'm freaking open to it and I'm excited for that. But I realized right before I left, I had this idea sitting within me that I was always trying to prove that I was a good coach, but I was always terrified that my manifestations weren't happening fast enough. And if you are someone that is in, this career space like me, in the personal development world, or even just like a brand, putting yourself out there on social media, I have always felt like, well, people want to see the results, right? People want to see that the proof is in the pudding. And so there was a lot of pressure that I put on myself to make things happen. And it started to really get to me. I'm like, am I a good coach? Because I don't have a lot to show for it right now. I'm still working through so much shit. I'm moving back home with my parents. I mean, I've talked about debt and, financial anxiety and, it was a lot. And it still is a lot. I'm still navigating through a lot of stuff right now. But I've also learned so much. And again, I'm so grateful for that North Carolina chapter of my life and what it exposed to me. But I don't feel this need to prove who I am to anyone anymore, which feels so fucking good. I truly felt like there was this energy weighing on me of like, I have to be this role model for people. I have to show them that they can do this. I have to show them what's possible. But it was putting a lot of pressure and stress on me. And you know what? You may be moving through that too, where you feel like, fuck, I'm behind. I haven't gotten the house. I haven't saved enough money. I haven't done this. I haven't traveled there. I haven't gotten married. I haven't done this. I haven't hit this accomplishment in my career. You have to trust in your own journey and in your own path. And man, there have been so many moments where I'm like, why is this not happening yet? Like, I've done so much work, God. Like, I've done so much work on myself. I've done so much healing. I've done so much growth. Like, when do I get to reap the fucking rewards? Especially if you are basing your work around that. Oh my God. So exhausting. I feel just like so burnt out from that. And now I have been really working on detachment from all of that and showing up here for you because I fucking love to do it. Because this is one of the many ways that I express myself, and I feel so damn good doing it. But not putting this pressure on myself, I have to show up because I have to get a client, because I have to make money, because I have to support myself and this and that, blah, blah. No. I'm not operating like that anymore. I have nothing to prove to anyone. I know where my life is going. I know that I'm meant to be known. I know that my message is meant to be shared with so many people. I recognize the power that is coming from within me. But I also recognize that I want to focus my energy on different parts and pieces of my life that I've never focused my energy on before. And that's so exciting for me. It's so new for me. And so much of the last few months of my life have been really detaching from where I was putting my energy and where I was putting my focus. We all just get so used to being comfortable where we're putting our energy, where we're putting our focus. It's hard to break away from that, even if, stuff isn't working. If nothing's especially if nothing's happening, right? You're like, okay, well, I've always done it this way, and this feels really comfortable, and I just have to work more towards it. Giving yourself the permission to take a step back and say, listen, maybe what we want to focus on is changing. Maybe our values in life are changing. And that is okay. I am still me. It felt very weird to not share as much on here, to not share as much on social media. I love showing up on social media. And I was scared for a second, like, is this just a part of me that's like gone away? But I felt so disconnected because I didn't have that part in my life alive. And now being back and showing up on social media, I now fully understand, like, I'm showing up as a different version of myself, but I'm still me. I'm still me because this is something that I love to do. I love to share my life. I love to share my wisdom and my lessons and my insight, and that's just who I am. And I pray to God every day that I'm able to make a solid career out of this. And I know that it will take shape and take form, but also I'm focusing on building other foundations in my life right now. Financial security, really feeling rooted and living in this new city, new routines, new foundations, opening myself up to my dream partnership and exploring that. I've never really done that. I was dating for my first, maybe 2 years in Austin, but then I got so sidetracked because I was just freaking the fuck out about how I was going to support myself, and then transitioning into doing and trying so many different things, working as a personal assistant, building an Amazon brand, going that route, and then running my loan signing business, starting my life coach business in human design, and just so much of my emphasis and focus was on that. Ironically, I just found out that Chiron, which is the wounded healer in astrology, has been in Aries, which is in my 10th house of career, since basically 2018. I'm like, oh, wow, this explains literally everything. I'll get into more astrological insights in the next episode because I don't want to make this episode way longer than it needs to be. But we have some amazing transits coming up. But I will say that these next few days are so fortuitous because Venus is, I think it's coming together with Jupiter, which is in Cancer. So this is such a fortuitous time for love, for attracting love, for really focusing on where you want to experience abundance in your life. And abundance does not need to necessarily mean money. Abundance can be in love and friendship, in connection, abundance in your health and in your physical body. Like, you get to define what abundance means for you, but it's almost like a surge of love right now. I feel like Cupid is just like everywhere in the air right now from what I'm gaining from all my astrologer peeps. So I wanted to share that little note on the transit that is happening this week, which is very, very exciting. But that is where I am in my Miami journey. I'm a week in. I'm still in shock. I'm still processing. I have already learned so many lessons. That is just my life. My sun gift, my most important gift in human design, is a gift 47. It's coming from the Mind Center, and it's all about the gift of revelations and having those aha moments. And really what keeps me so grounded in life is constantly experiencing those aha moments. And it's just crazy how much I've already gone through in a week. I'm truly finding my balance throughout it all. There have been definitely quite a few lows. There have been so many highs as well. I've already made new friends and made new connections, and I'm putting myself out there, and I am living in a dream that has now been manifested. And now is the fun part where I get to sustain it and I get to maintain it. And I am constantly reminding myself that this is phase 1. This is step 1. I am just at the beginning of this journey. And if you are at the beginning of your own journey, I want you to remember that, because it's very easy to get swept up in, you want to be at step 50. You want to be on the last phase where the destination is. But that's the part of life that we have to grow comfortable with. I know that it's going to get better with each day, with each week. And I know that I'm going to have my moments where, it sinks in that I'm fucking here and I'm doing it, okay? I don't have the crutch of my parents anymore. I'm not in Austin where I had spent many, many years building friendships and community and my work and all of that. So yeah, it's going to be overwhelming. And yeah, I'm going to have moments where it's like, oh, fuck. Like, I really got to go out and do this damn thing. But it's also so exciting because I am such a different person now. I want such different things. I get to attract such different things, and focusing on the knowing that it's always up to us to find that balance. And I just am so excited to be able to share my journey with you, because I have this newfound sense of confidence and certainty in myself because I feel so damn good here. Like, the way that I look. Oh, I'm looking at the blinking. It's not the clock, it's the air conditioner, but it's 5:55, which it's not. It's 6:31, but it's saying 5:55. That's hilarious. And the other day was blinking 3:33. So we love that the signs are always supporting us. But I feel so different now because I'm not attached to perfection and holding on to all this like shame and guilt, and I just have to make everything perfect. I'm taking my time with where I'm at. I'm understanding that this is not my kitchen that I'm used to. This is not the home that I'm used to. This is not the environment that I'm used to. So if things take a little more time, that's fine. If I need to take a little more time to get adjusted, that's fine. I am not missing out on anything, because anything that is meant for you will not miss you. It will circle you. It'll come back around. It's going to fucking find you in some way, somehow. I fully believe in that. I have been working so much on my detachment, and it's really starting to show. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to experience things in life that are going to throw me off my fucking rocker, like my first few days here, where I was like, do I literally just pack up my shit and go back to what is comfortable because I feel so unsafe here? I had to navigate through that. I had to get through that. I know that I don't want to be back in North Carolina. Like, it's cushy and it's comfy there, and there's a lot of safety within that. But I know that I need to be here. I know that I'm meant to make it work, and I know that it's gonna work. I know that it is. I just know it. So that is my first week here in Miami. I can't believe that we're here. But we're fucking here. We are here. I'm about to go on a nice long walk the beach, which is such a dream. And I'm going to soak it in for as long as I have this place. And we're going to figure this out together. And I want to be there for you through every step of whatever journey you are in right now. I am giving you so much love. I am giving you just like all the kudos, because whatever you're navigating through right now, if you're listening to this episode, I'm sure you're navigating through something, and it is not easy, and it is hard and challenging. But I believe in you. You should believe in you, and really lean on your support system. Like, we have to be able to be vulnerable and open ourselves up to that support and know that it is a choice to be alone. I'm reminding myself of that. I have felt alone and been alone for so many stages of my life, and I'm now not wanting to operate like that. And so I can have my moments where I feel alone, sure, but I can choose to put myself out there. I can choose to reach out to someone. I can choose to know that I am not alone, and I'm opening myself up to more connection, more love, more support in my life. So with that, we're going to end the episode here. I'm excited to continue to update you and to share new things that I have going on in my life and just whatever's coming up and coming through for me. So thank you, as always, for being here. I would love it if you rated the show, shared it with someone that you think needs to hear these messages today. Leave me a comment on what stood out to you with this episode, and stay tuned for the next episode, which will most likely be next week, but I'm still figuring out the cadence of all this. Thank you for being here. I love you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.